Hey everyone, just wanted to try out some new software and hardware here for a minute. Sorry if there's pretty bad reverb or echo with this. Um, okay, so premise of this video, I would like to show how I go. 75% of my work is pencil straight to color. So just going to show a little bit of my method of how I do so. I've had a lot of professionals and a lot of friends of mine and aspiring artists and so forth asking me, oh, what do you ink with, or whatnot. To be honest, like I said, it's about 75% of my work, my published work, is pencil straight to color. It's not really a new process, but I think that the way that I approach my files is maybe a little bit different. I'm kind of self-taught. There wasn't a lot of things in the 90s to teach you how to do so, like YouTube and things like that, where you're going to find this video. So anyhow, this is a scan. This is my own character. It's Latex Alice, and it's just a pinup, random pinup. I just pulled it off the flash drive I have sitting here. The way that I do my artwork is I pencil on 11 by 17 boards. It doesn't have to be that size. It's just the size I prefer, which is a standard comic book page size. Reduces pretty well to finish trim comic print work as well. One thing I'm always thinking about, especially pinups, covers, things like that, not necessarily sequential work, but pieces as this that might become a full-size art print or whatnot. What I will do is, before any edits or anything else on this, I'm going to actually do a full bleed prep to it before any edits whatsoever. I know a lot of people will do all the edits on this and that, and then they'll paste it into like a they have a master template or whatnot. I just prefer to do it on this actual scan right here. I use an all-in-one Brother printer scanner. It scans 11 by 17. I think it actually scans like 12 by 19 or something like that. Anywho, okay, so we're going to check out the image size here. As you can see, the original size here of the scan is just shy of 11 inches, just shy of 17. If I ever planned on making this into an 11 by 17 inch print, you need to add a 1/4 inch bleed to the piece. That's going to be the bleed on all 4 edges, which is going to get trimmed into the artwork as a full bleed print. Even if you had a white border, doesn't matter. It's still going to get a trim, because most 11 by 17 prints are printed on a 12 by 18 page, which is trimmed after print, which creates the full bleed look with the colors running off the edge. Okay, so as we see here, it's not even exactly 11 by 17. So I'm going to go up here to Image, Canvas Size. I make sure the canvas extension color is white. I'm going to come up here to 11.25 by 17.25 height. Okay, so boom, there it is. You got all your extra little 1/4 inch that I added on all 4 edges. Something that I will do at this point is, even though that's a trim area, I still like the line art to pretty much lead up to the edge, on pinups at least. On pages, I'll probably do a completely different video because I set those up completely differently than something like this. But right here, so we're not doing any edits yet. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to say select all. I'm going to make sure that my foreground background color here in Photoshop, the background color is white. So if I was to bring the piece in, it would add white to the file. Pushing it out is not really going to make a difference, but I just do that out of just sort of years of figuring out, after the fact, oh crap, I should have put the background color white. All right, so I'm just going to go here, Image, Edit, Free Transform. Go up here and make sure it's interlaced. I am using Photoshop. I believe I'm in C. I got CC in Photoshop 2020. I believe I'm using the CC right now. So I'm going to bump it up by like 2% to like 102. There we go. Click on any of the tools. take the selection off. So as you can see, it still has this obnoxious edge here, probably on the two. The top and the bottom are now full bleed. With the trim on this, I can leave this. I really don't need to clean this off, being that it's a 11 by 17 full bleed print. I'm just going to drag in a fake border here. It's probably going to trim about right there where that blue line appears. So that's kind of irrelevant. Even with the shimmy to the piece, if it was web pressed cut, it would still not really matter. It would be right there on the. Let me open up my history here. Okay, so let me get rid of that. So free transform. There I am. Okay, so anywho, all right. So that's my edit to the piece. My initial edit is I created the outer trim, and then I just blew the piece up a bit. All of my scans, being that I don't really plan on this piece being like a 24 by 36 poster at any time, the scan is at 300 DPI. I don't really feel the need to use up all my CPU with a 600 DPI file. It's kind of nonsense. I'd rather the machine work fast. 9.5 out of 10 times this piece is just going to be reproduced in its reduced form, full color, so it really doesn't matter. But anyhow, yeah, 300 DPI minimum scan I would recommend for pencils. In RGB mode, I don't scan in document or black and white. And there's a big reason for that. Non-photo blue, which you can see here. I use a non-photo blue pencil before I actually do my penciling. And the non-photo blue pencil does not always transition in a scan on any scanner to true, it doesn't just reflect back white as you would believe. So a lot of times it would be like a lot of cleanup in grayscale, and I just don't want to deal with that. So I scan it RGB full color. Let's see here. So I did my canvas size. And when you do this a few times, I mean, it becomes like, it's like typing. It becomes second nature. Let me zoom in here. All right, so, and as you can see, like right there too, that might clean itself up as you see what I do here. All right, so file size set up, 11.25 by 17.25. I bumped it up so the bleed is very close to the trim area. I don't really got to worry about edges right now. We'll check that at the very end. I might clean it up anyhow, just to show you. So now, you want to get rid of all this blue. And the way that I do it is I go to image adjustments. Normally I'm showing you the tabs here. Normally I would just hit Control U. I'm on a PC. I'm not sure with the Mac. I don't own a Mac. My wife owns all Mac. I own all PC. So what I do here is I come in here to this channel. Obviously there's no red pencil or anything being used, and I go to both channels. I go to blue and cyan because sometimes in RGB the blue will pick up as blue and cyan. So let's go to blue first, and right here on lightness I blast it to 100% brightness. Then I come down here to cyan, which is majority of the blue is in that channel, and then I blast it to 100%. Boom, it's all gone. It's actually brighter than the surrounding white around it because we haven't edited that yet. So as you can see, there's the blue, bumping it up, it disappears. And all the white areas are going to be white when we're done with this. So there you go there. So I go blue and cyan, 100% white. Then I come up here to master before closing this. Come up to master and I pull the saturation to 0. So there's now no color within this document. It's all grayscale. All right. Hit OK. All right. There's the file right there. Because it is pencil, I just like a little bit of the raw energy behind pencil. There's something that I feel is a lot besides time. I feel that I have a pretty tight pencil approach, somewhat clean. I'm not real smudgy. There was a lot of tooth to this original, so you do see a lot of my original lines here. Some wonkiness in there, but anyhow, so what I do at this point, we got rid of the blue. I come up here to image, adjust, and I come into levels. All right, I don't do it all in one run here. A lot of artists, they will just anticipate like, oh, you just go into levels and change it. No, that's not it. I mean, you can do that, but you're going to find that your lines are going to be very muddy. Maybe better off if you had just inked them, I should say. So what I like to do here is I don't mess with the black output, okay? So this is your black, your grayscale, and your white level. I'll bump up a little bit by eye. When bumping out this direction towards white, it's darkening the gray. So any gray pixel within this image gets darker, gets lighter, gets darker. I'm going to bring it in here, and that picture is going to start looking a little ugly. You're going to see all the weird eraserness and all this stuff that was pure white, right? Then I come in here, and all this, by the way, you know, I am zoomed in quite a bit right here. I'm going to bring the white up until those gray pixels start disappearing. I'm not going to bring it up this far because the lines start disappearing. I'm going to just kind of eyeball it. So, all right, about right there. The lines are still visible. I'm all good. I'm going to say OK. And this one, by the way, I'm not going to go through and correct stuff in here. Like there was things like this dot here was on the scanner. Some of this wonkiness. I think there was actually like a fuzz or something that was on the scanner up in here that I had to erase, but we're not going to do that for now. I'm just showing you file prep, you know, pencil, getting a pencil file ready just for straight to color. All right, so we just adjusted the levels the first time. I'm going to come over here. I prefer to work in levels or layers. All right, I'm going to create a new layer. Just leave it alone as is. I'm going to come over to channels. All four should automatically be selected if you're working in the RGB mode. On the PC, you're going to hold Control. You're going to click it one time. All right. It's now selected all the inverted areas, which are, I guess you can say, the white pixel areas, right? I'm going to toggle back to layers. Make sure your foreground color is black. You're going to come up here, select inverse. You are still selected on layer 1, which you created. You don't have to create this before selecting all this stuff. I just, just showing you one way. I mean, you could do this after the fact, after you toggle back from channels to layers. You could add a new layer right now. I'm just, showing you. All right, so I selected inverse, which means that now instead of the white being selected, it's automatically selected anything which is a gray pixel, all right? You're gonna come over here, select the paint bucket, you're gonna dump that in there. It's dumped into this additional layer right here, right? I like to set that to multiply. All right, so I'm gonna hit Control H to hide that. All right, so now you can see the line art kind of looks inked. It's dark enough where everything is legible to a colorist. You're not having like, gray smudginess and stuff that might not, they might not know. Like your colorist might think, oh, I don't know if that's water or if that's, whatnot. So really, it's just trying to make the image legible for the following step, which would be, coloring for this. Now, if this piece was getting inked, I wouldn't do any of this to it. I would actually just go straight to inks, scan it, and then a little bit of level adjustments and call it a day. But for this, yeah, that's pretty much about it. There are times where if I'm a very heavy-handed penciler, so there's times where I will not be as heavy-handed. When I scan, a lot of the lines will be very, very light, like this one right here, right? Like this area that feathers off, where majority of the piece looks like that. And in that instance, something that I would do, I try to avoid the dodge and burn tool altogether with coloring and with line prep. I will use the dodge tool for things like edges that have a lot of grit and stuff showing up. Let's check over here. I might actually have something. Yeah, like there's some right there. You can use, this is the dodge tool here. I mean, you can use this in kind of black. Actually, I don't have that set up. Highlights, midtones. Actually, here, let me flatten this. There we go. Yeah, so do I have something selected there? No, I got that set up. There we go. sorry about that. Anyhow, yeah, so you can come through here and blast this out and clean it up if you want, or you could just, simply really just come through here like this and, fill it white, whatever you feel like doing. Photoshop, the nice thing about the program, there's 1,000 ways to do one single thing. But yeah, so anyhow, that's pretty much how I set up my lines, get rid of the blue line. Always thinking ahead that, hey, this is a cover, this is a pinup. There might be a chance at some point for it to be printed as an 11 by 17 print, or a large scale print, versus the 6.5 by whatever 10 point whatever in the final comic book size. So yeah, that's just pretty much what I do. I bump it up, like I said, I bump it up about 2% in the beginning, and then I just start noodling out the blue, and then drop it to a grayscale image, still in RGB. I don't like to go up and change it to grayscale. There are times where things like lines will actually they'll change definition. I don't really know why it does that, but I have noticed it in the later versions of Photoshop as well. And I've been doing this since, I believe, Photoshop 3. Like it's been forever. So this is pretty much how I approach most of my line art. So yeah, I mean, this is just kind of a hack approach I'm showing everyone that they can use if you prefer to just draw something in pencil, scan it, and get it ready for color. And I do know there's other professionals who have several years under them who they don't go through this. They don't go through this, darkening the lines and such. They'll just straight up scan it and send it to the colorist. And a lot of the times the colorist won't even adjust levels. And, it's very cool to look at from an artistic side. But I know on the reader side, it can be a little confusing and maybe look a little incomplete, even though the artist side, we're like, oh wow, look at the way, they approached, texturing, those plants or some of the transitional stuff. A lot of the times that stuff can just kind of blend and you're like, I don't know, is that, blood gushing out of the head or is that hair, and without coming in and defining that through value, it can be very difficult for any reader's eye, sometimes even for the colorist if they're not, a lot of colorists are not aspiring pencilers. They focused on the one thing, which is coloring, and they've mastered the hues, but maybe the line art is a little hard to read sometimes for them, especially people like myself who tend to kind of go crazy on the detail sometimes. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to message me. I guess comments below. This is going to go up on YouTube before anywhere else. So yeah,